Welcome to the tutorial on organizational behavior. Today the chapter is motivation concepts. In this chapter we are going to focus on the three elements of motivation. We will learn about the four early theories of motivation, and we will know the applicability of the early theories of motivation. We will learn about the self-determination theory to intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. We will compare and contrast goal setting theory and management by objectives. We will contrast reinforcement theory and goal setting theory. We will know how organizational justice is a refinement of equity theory. We will apply the key tenets of expectancy theory to motivating employees. We will compare contemporary theories of motivation. And lastly, we will explain to what degree motivation theories are culture bound. What is motivation? It's easy to see that some individuals in the organization are more motivated than others. However, the reasons for that motivation are more difficult to determine. When defining motivation, it is important to look at the interaction between the individual and the situation. That means to understand the motivation of employees, you have to focus on the result of interaction between the individual and situation. To understand the motivation, we have to understand the process that account for an individual's intensity, direction, and persistence of effort toward attaining a goal, specifically the organizational goal. That means to achieve the organizational goal, the intensity, direction, and persistency of effort of the employees is known as motivation. If the employees have a intensity for hard work, if they are directed to the organizational goal, and if the employees are persistent to achieve the organizational goal, then we can say that the employees are motivated. That means there are three key elements of motivation: intensity, direction, and persistence. There are lots of theories of motivation that help us to gain a better understanding of the concept. And in this slide, we can see some of the earlier theories which are not entirely valid nowadays, but still they are used by many managers. The earlier theories of motivation are Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory, McGregor's theory X and theory Y, Hertzberg's two-factor theory, and McClelland theory of needs. These are the earlier theory on motivation. The first theory was developed by Abraham Maslow. His theory states that with every individual there is a hierarchy of 5 needs. We can see in the initial stage or the lower stage, the need is psychological, then safety, after that social, next esteem, and the last need is self-actualization. So this is a hierarchy of needs based on the theory of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The lower level is caused by the external forces, and the upper three causes by the internal forces. As each need is met or satisfied, the next need becomes dominant. The Maslow's theory posits that individuals are stuck in their existing need level until it is satisfied, and then they can move to the next level. For example, until their safety needs are met, they will not able to move onto the social level. The McGregor's theory X and Y. Douglas McGregor developed the theory called theory X and theory Y. McGregor believed that there are two distinct views of human beings that managers hold. The theory X is basically negative, and theory X believes that workers have little ambition, they dislike work, and they avoid responsibility. On the other hand, the theory Y view is in contrast to X and believes that workers tend to be self-directed, enjoy work, and accept responsibility. Managers will modify their behavior towards employees based on what view they hold about them. But this theory don't have any empirical evidence to support the theory. But some of the managers apply this theory, although there is no empirical evidence. Hertzberg's two-factor theory is another one of the earlier developed theories. This theory sets forth that satisfaction and dissatisfaction are not opposite, but two separate ideas. There are a set of factors that, when present, will help to avoid the dissatisfaction in the employees, and this group is called hygiene factors and includes the salary, worker conditions, and company policies. There is another set of factors that, when present, will help to cause the satisfaction in the workers. This group is called motivators and include the growth, responsibility, and achievement. These sets are distinct, and the presence of hygiene factors does not cause satisfaction. It just helps to avoid the dissatisfaction. That means the hygiene factors will not ensure satisfaction, but hygiene factors will ensure to avoid the dissatisfaction. On the other hand, the motivator factors, growth, responsibility, and achievement, they will ensure satisfaction, and the company policies, salaries, and work condition, they will remove the dissatisfaction. That means these factors are extrinsic and they are related to dissatisfaction. You can remove the dissatisfaction if you can ensure these factors. On the other hand, these factors are intrinsic and you can increase the motivation by ensuring these factors. There are some criticism on the Hertzberg two-factor theory. According to Hertzberg, the hygiene factors must be met to remove or avoid the dissatisfaction, and the motivators are given, then satisfaction can occur. But methodology of Hertzberg is limited because the participants had self-serving bias, and there are bias or errors of observation, that is known as reliability of rates quotient. In the method, there is no overall measure of satisfaction, and Hertzberg assumed that there is a relationship between satisfaction and productivity, but there was no research. And this is the final earlier theories developed by the McClelland. The name of the theory is three needs theory. McClelland bases his theory on the idea that people are motivated in the workplace by three main needs. The first need is need for achievement, the second one is need for power, and the third one is need for affiliation. The need for achievement indicates the drive to excel, to achieve in relation to a set of standards and to strive to succeed. And the second need is need for power, that indicates the need to make others behave in a way that they would not have behaved otherwise. And the third need is need for affiliation, which indicates the desire for friendly and close interpersonal relationships. Ultimately, the people have varying levels of each of the three needs that are very hard to measure. The performance predictions for high need for achievement people. The need that has received the most attention by the researcher is the need for achievement. Achievers will carefully measure the odds and try to take on activities that are challenging but not too high risk. They tend to be motivated in the jobs that are more individualistic in nature and provide regular and effective feedback. Strong managers have a higher level of need for power and lower level of need for affiliation, as they are trying to motivate a team to move toward a given direction. The people with a high need for achievement are likely to prefer the activities which have a 50-50 chance of success because they avoid the high level of risk. They are motivated when they get the responsibility, they get feedback, and they prefer moderate risk. And considering the managership, they are not a good managers because they are too much personal focus. But considering the research aspect, there are good research support, but it is not a very practical theory. There are number of contemporary theories of motivation that have utilized the older theories to provide us with a deeper understanding of the motivation in the workplace. So these are the modern theories on motivation. The theories are self-determination theory, goal-setting theory, that is management by objectives, self-efficacy theory, also known as social cognitive theory or social learning theory, reinforcement theory, equity theory, and expectancy theory. So these are the contemporary or updated theories on motivation. The self-determination theory states that people prefer to have control over their actions. That means the people prefer to feel they have control over their actions. So anything that makes a previously enjoyed task feel more like an obligation than a freely chosen activity will undermine motivation. This self-determination theory sets forth that in the workplace, the intrinsic and extrinsic rewards are not independent of one another. In fact, the presence of extrinsic rewards may decrease the intrinsic rewards. In addition to the extrinsic rewards, managers need to realize the importance of using goal setting and verbal rewards as a method to increase the motivation. In self-determination theory, it indicates that managers should focus on verbal rewards because it increases intrinsic motivation. That means the manager should not focus on tangible rewards for ensuring motivation of the employees. The second modern theory or contemporary theory on motivation is locus goal setting theory. The idea behind this theory is that goals that are specific and effectively difficult can lead to a higher performance if they include self-generated feedback. A difficult goal will help the individual to focus and direct attention, as well as the difficult goal will energize them to work hard. The difficulty of the goal will increase the persistence and force the people to be more effective and efficient. The relationship between the goals and performance depends on the goal commitment and task characteristics. That means the relationship between goals and performance depends on how committed the individual is to the goal as well as how specific the tasks are. But on this theory, most of the research were done in United States. That's why the applicability of the theory in the other culture has a suspect. To implement the goal setting theory successfully, we can apply the process of management by objectives. Management by objective is a systematic way to utilize the goal setting. The management by objectives is shortly known as MBO. In the MBO, the goals are set jointly by the managers and employees, and the goal must be tangible, verifiable and measurable in order to be effective. The managers helps to break down the organizational goal into smaller, more specific goals for the employees. In order for MBO to be effective, the goals must be specific. The employees must participate in the goal setting. There must be a defined time period and feedback must be incorporated into the process. The third contemporary theory on motivation is Bandura's self-efficacy theory. The theory is based on an individual's belief that he or she is capable of performing a task in the organization. This theory is a complement to the goal setting theory as it incorporates goals into the process. Higher efficacy is related to greater confidence, greater persistence in the face of difficulties, and responding to negative feedback with working harder. That means not shutting down. That means for higher efficacy, the employee should have confidence, he should be persistent in the time of difficulties, and in time of negative feedback, the employee should work hard to show the persistence for achieving the goal or for completing the task. You can see the hard goal increase the confidence and higher self-set goal ensure the higher performance. That means the self-efficacy theory is the belief by the employees that he can complete the task successfully. And the employees can increase the self-efficacy by applying various ways. The first is inactive mastery, that is gaining relevant experience with the task or job, and it focuses on practice makes perfect. And the second way to increase the self-efficacy is vicarious modeling. Vicarious modeling indicates that the employee can increase the confidence by watching others perform the task. This model will be most effective when the observer sees the model to be similar to him or herself. Verbal persuasion is another way to increase the self-efficacy. And the last one is arousal. There is also a way to increase the self-efficacy in the employees. That means emotionally, when the employees are aroused for performing a task, that can be a way to increase the self-efficacy. But sometimes it can hurt performance if emotion is not a component of the task. The fourth contemporary theory on motivation is reinforcement theory. This reinforcement theory is based on the goal setting theory we looked at the earlier slide. However, this theory focuses on behaviors instead of cognitive factors. This theory believes that reinforcement conditions behavior, and by reinforcing certain behaviors, we can increase the types of behavior that impact organizational effectiveness in a positive way. This theory is based on the idea that behavior is environmentally caused. Behavior is believed to be based on the consequences and not on thoughts, feelings, or attitudes. This theory is not technically a motivational theory, rather, it's a method that is used to analyze the behavior. But it is important to keep in mind that reinforcement theory does impact behavior, but it is not the only factor that does so. The fifth contemporary theory on motivation is Adams' equity theory. Adams' equity theory utilizes the perception theory that we discussed in the previous chapters. The idea is that employees compare their ratios of outcomes to input of others they see as relevant. When they see the ratio as equal, there is a perceived state of equity. That means no tension arises. However, when they perceive the ratio is unequal, they may experience anger or guilt depending on the result of equity analysis, and that's why the tension may arise. The tension can motivate the employees to act in a way to bring the situation into a more equitable state. That means in the equity theory, the employees try to compare the performance with the others, and if the performance is equal to the other employees, there is no tension. But if there is an unequal performance, there will be a tension. There may be two types of tension. We can see whenever there is a under-rewarded states, it will cause anger, and whenever there will be a over-rewarded states, it will cause guilt. However, the tension can motivate the employee to act in a way to bring the situation into a more equitable state. As already said, in the equity theories, the employee tries to compare the performance with the other employees. There are 4 referent comparisons. Self-insight, where the person compares themselves with someone else within the organization who holds a different job. And self-outside, where the person compares themselves with someone outside of the organization with a different job. Other insight, where the person compares another individual or group of individuals within the organization. And other outside, where the person compares another individual or group of individuals outside the organization. So these are the 4 types of comparisons by which the employees tries to find out the equity on their performance. All these factors are based on the individual's perceptions of what is equitable or fair. There may be reactions to the inequity from the employees. Employees' behavior to create equity may be to change inputs, slack off. They can change the outcomes, that means increase output. They may distort or change perception of self, or the employee can distort or change the perception of others. The employee can choose a different referent person, or ultimately the employee can leave the field or quit the job if he fails to ensure the equity in the performance. So there are some propositions relating to inequitable pay. If you pay to the employees based on time, and if the employees are over-rewarded, there will be a high production. On the other hand, the under-rewarded employees produce less with low quality. And if you pay the employees based on the quality, then the over-rewarded employees give higher quality and under-rewarded employees make more of low quality. The justice and the equity theory is based on the perceived equity in the workplace. For organizational justice to be perceived, there must be distributive justice, procedural justice, and interactional justice. Distributive justice is the fairness in which the outcomes are distributed or experienced. The procedural justice focuses not on the outcomes but on the process itself. Interactional justice focuses on how you are treated during the process. And the organizational justice indicates the overall perception of what is fair in the workplace. And the most commonly used and widely accepted theory on motivation is Bloom's expectancy theory. This theory argues that the strength of tendency to act in a certain way depends on the strength of an expectation that they will receive a given outcome and that the outcome is desired. That means in the expectancy theory, the employees expect that there will be a outcome and the outcome will happen surely, and this will motivate the employees. That means the employees are willing to work harder if they believe that their actions will get them an outcome they desire. For example, employees are willing to work long and hard hours if they know that they will be rewarded through promotion, recognition, or pay in response to their hard work. So in this graph, there was an effort to integrate the contemporary motivation theories, and this graph looks at integrating the various motivational theories we have looked at. It is based on Bloom's expectancy theory. This graph looks at individual effort and recognizes that it can be impacted by the opportunity. Goals affect behavior and will definitely influence the individual effort. Employees will exert a lot of effort if they perceive that effort will help them perform better and receive rewards for that performance. This also assumes that the rewards are based on the fair and objective appraisal process as perceived by the individual. And if equity is perceived, motivation will be high. So we can see there is a integration of all contemporary motivation theories. That means motivation depends on integration of all theories. Considering the global implications, we can see that motivation theories are often culture-based. We can see Maslow's theory, MacLean theory, and Adams theory are not universal theory because there was no so much research on that issue. But the Herzberg two-factor theory can be said as a universal theory because most of the employees seek for interesting work. That means it's a universal theory that can be applied for the motivation of employees because employees prefer interesting work. And if we summarize the chapter, we can see that the Maslow's theory, Alderfer theory, MacLellan theory, Herzberg theory, they are based on the need of the employees. They are well known but not very good predictors of behavior. In goal setting theory, there is a limited scope, but it's a good predictor. In the perspective of reinforcement theory, it's a very powerful indicator in many work areas. And if you consider the equity theory, this theory is best known for research in organizational justice. And the expectancy theory is the good predictor of performance variables, but shares many of the assumptions as rational decision making. As a manager, if you want to ensure a perfect motivation of the employees, you can integrate the contemporary theories for ensuring a good performance from the motivated employees. Thank you.